Today on ZZZ Made Easy, we're clocking in for another guide on Harumasa. This video will cover the basics of Harumasa's main mechanics, how you can build them, and some teams you can go into. This guide will cover the potential vision buffs Harumasa received in version 2.6. To get access to the new moves and passives, you must purchase Harumasa's potential silhouettes for the potential archive shop. If you have no idea what that is, I'll link a separate guide for that. Harumasa is an S-rank electric attack agent from section 6. He combines ranged bow shots with close-quarter dual-wielding slashes for a very interactive playstyle. He's primarily a dash attack focused DPS, but with the rework, some of his power has been shifted into his ultimate. Harumasa has received a few quality of life buffs, but he still remains one of the more intensive button pressing agents. For those fine with a challenge, there's a lot to learn and master, so let's get into it. Harumasa has a 5-part basic attack string, with the first 3 basics dealing physical damage and the 4th and 5th basic dealing electric damage. The 5th basic creates 2 electro quivers, which I'll cover in just a second. If you hold a direction, Harumasa will insert a repositioning shot in between moves. You should only use these if you must physically change positions. During the 5th basic's animation, if you hold special, Harumasa will fire a falling feather shot. Falling feather can manually be triggered at any time by holding basic attack. Harumasa would do a charge shot like animation, although you can release the button almost immediately. With your movement stick, you can also aim at different targets. Just like the hold special version, if you keep holding basic attack during the 5th basic animation, Harumasa will immediately go into Falling Feather's charge shot. This is a vital shortcut for the longer combos we'll be talking about. When Harumasa has electric quivers on the field, then Falling Feather will activate those quivers. They will mark foes with Electro Prison, and when any foe is marked, Harumasa enters his awakened state. Normally, Harumasa's dash attack is a volley of arrows that deals physical damage. When foes are marked, the awakened state changes the dash attack arrow volley into a dash attack slash. If no foes are marked, then Harumasa will go back to his arrow volley. We can combine what we've learned so far after Harumasa's 5th basic attack, either hold special or hold basic attack for Falling Feather. Either method is fine, but throughout the video I'll try to match the previous input if possible. Now after Falling Feather, if you tap basic attack, Harumasa will automatically do his dash attack slash. You do not need to manually do a dodge plus basic attack input. This basic setup is the core of Harumasa's playstyle, which I like to think of as a 3-step process. First, deploy electro quivers. Second, mark foes with Falling Feather. Third, slash away with Harumasa's awakened state dash attacks. Before things get complex, let's understand electro quivers and electro prison more. Harumasa can only have 6 quivers on the field at a time, but they do last for about a minute. If you end up spawning more than 6 quivers, the old quivers will activate on their own and mark a nearby foe. This is a super important detail to know about because you do not have to use Falling Feather to mark enemies. Now activating 1 electro quiver applies 1 electro prison mark. Each enemy can have up to 8 marks max, and they last for about 10 seconds. Sadly, there is no counter for how many marks are on the enemy. You just have to keep track of it in your head. To slightly complicate things, 1 electro prison mark does not equal 1 dash attack slash. Each slash consumes 2 marks. That means 6 marks equals 3 slashes, and the max 8 marks equals a total of 4 slashes at a time. The good news is that Harumasa never spawns an odd number of quivers. To get 8 marks, Harumasa can do his 5th basic attack 4 times. 4 slashes is the general combo goal, but doing 4 full basic attack strings takes way too long. Another way to go about attacking is to do 1 5th basic, Falling Feather, then 1 slash. When Harumasa runs out of slashes, or marks, pressing basic attack will chain directly into a 4th basic attack. This allows you to loop the 5th basic, Falling Feather, and slash combo over and over. This is one way to play, but also not ideal. Harumasa has 5 methods that each spawn 6 quivers at a time. The easiest one will come from Harumasa's EX special, which costs 60 energy. During EX special, you can keep holding the button to do Falling Feather after. After that, you can dash in for 3 slashes. The next method is from Harumasa's chain attack. Again, during the animation, hold special or basic for an immediate Falling Feather, then mash basic attack for 3 slashes. For the third method, after any chain attack, Harumasa enhances his next 5th basic to spawn 6 quivers. We can build upon our chain attack plus 3 slash combo. Remember, after the last slash, Harumasa will shortcut into a 4th basic. The following enhanced 5th basic spawns 6 quivers, which means another round of 3 slashes. You do not have to use this enhanced 5th basic immediately, just don't forget you have it. The 4th way to spawn 6 quivers comes when any ally triggers an anomaly and there are no electro quivers on the field already. This effect has a 12-second cooldown. This perk requires you to pay attention a bit because if you trigger an anomaly but there are quivers still on the field, then nothing happens. part of optimizing Harumasa's damage will rely on keeping track of Anomaly triggers. For the next part of the video, I'm going to cover the new moves and passives Harumasa got from the rework. This includes a 5th way to spawn Electro Quivers using a new EX special called Nowhere to Run Patrol. EX Special Patrol still costs 60 energy and spawns 6 Quivers, but it can only be done after certain moves. After Harumasa's 4th basic, press special for a 2-part attack. The first part spawns 6 Quivers, the second part will activate those Quivers to mark the enemy. Afterwards, you can mash basic attack to immediately start slashing. The Patrol EX Special simplifies Harumasa's gameplay by deploying Quivers and marking enemies with one button press. Another way to do Patrol is after a dash attack slash itself. Instead of manually triggering Falling Feather, this move just helps keep things flowing. You can also do Patrol after Harumasa's 5th basic attack. This may be preferred because the 5th basic spawns 2 Quivers. When the Patrol EX Special starts, it spawns 6 Quivers, so the 2 old Quivers automatically mark the enemy. When Patrol ends, the 6 new Quivers also mark the foe, so now you have 8 Quivers or 4 total slashes. When EX Special Patrol triggers Quivers on the field to mark enemies, it will not activate more Quivers than necessary. That is to say, it only uses enough Quivers to reach the max 8 marks. When playing Harumasa, you need to be careful with Falling Feather because it does not have this feature. Falling Feather will send all Quivers on the field to mark the enemy. If they already have 8 marks, you are wasting Quivers and thus wasting slashes. Harumasa got a couple more quality of life updates. The next one is actually just a straight damage buff. When Harumasa uses slashes or stunned foes, he triggers an extra instance of damage called Chasing Thunder, literally just free damage. Next, when facing aggressive foes, the first dash attack hit done in a combo will now have a built-in block. If you block an attack, but see another incoming, you can just dodge after instead of doing more slashes. If you still have marks active, you can dive back in. That first dash attack always has the block. Another buff is that the 2nd and 3rd dash attack moves now have more stickiness when tracking enemies. This is a good time to clarify that Harumasa is doing 3 individual slash moves. The first is the X pattern with both arms, the second is for a left side slash, third is a right side slash. After the 3rd slash, Harumasa alternates between 2nd and 3rd slashes. Technically, these all have different damage multipliers, but you don't really have to think about this. I just want to clarify what the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd dash attack hits really mean. Continuing on, Harumasa has a new ultimate, which is literally just a 2nd part added to the original ultimate for more damage. Harumasa fires a single piercing arrow, and then he does a wider scattered blossom shot. You do not have to worry about shotgunning the enemy with the 2nd part. After the ultimate, this is another opportunity to use EX Special Patrol. If you didn't have active marks, Harumasa can get right into his slashing. Harumasa's core passive has been buffed. Originally, it only used to affect the dash attack slashes. Now, the slashes, Chasing Thunder's extra damage, and the ultimate get the 25% free crit rate buff. When a slash triggers a crit, Harumasa gains 1 stack of Gleaming Edge. Each slash actually deals 3 individual hits, so if all 3 of those crit, then 1 slash can grant up to 3 stacks at a time. In addition, Harumasa's ultimate landing a crit now just grants full 6 stacks. 1 stack of Gleaming Edge grants 12% crit damage to the above moves, stacking up to 6 times and lasting for 10 seconds. Harumasa can reach max stacks with 2 slashes or 1 crit from his ult, which is made up of a lot of individual hits. At max stacks, Harumasa's main moves will get 72% crit damage, along with that free 25% crit rate. The ultimate with its new Scattering Blossoms Part 2 is now a much stronger move. This is a huge change, especially if you have a certain agent who can grant extra ultimate casts. Gleaming Edge's buff used to only last for 5 seconds, however, thanks to Harumasa's potential Awakening passive, it got extended to 10 seconds. I already included that in the last graphic. For the passive's other effect, after Harumasa uses EX Special, Chain Attack, or Ultimate, he gains the following buffs for 12 seconds. First, Harumasa gets a 12% in-combat attack buff. Second, the dash attack slashes and Chasing Thunder bonus damage ignore 15% of the foe's electric resistance. This is at potential 6. Harumasa spawns Quivers with EX Special and Chain Attack, so he will naturally activate these buffs. While his ultimate got the core passive bonuses, technically Harumasa's dash attacks are still his most buffed up move. However, the ultimate is just so much faster for how much damage it deals. Harumasa's additional ability requires a stun or anomaly ally. Against stunned foes or foes with active anomalies, Harumasa will get a 40% damage increase. When Falling Feather hits stunned foes or foes with anomalies, it applies 2 Electro Prison marks to the target. This additional ability is the glue for Harumasa's playstyle. Harumasa spawns 6 Quivers with most of his moves, because when you activate them with Falling Feather, he applies another 2 marks to get to the 8 mark max. This is absolutely vital for the combos we'll go over in a bit. Next, let's discuss what to do with Harumasa before we get to the stun phase. First, if you're really sweating it out for high scores, you can spawn 8 Quivers by just basic attacking over and over. When the fight starts, Harumasa already has 4 slashes ready. When on-fielding with Harumasa, the main goal is to build energy and to do as many 5th basics as possible. Unfortunately, enemies will not make this easy, and if you need to dodge, Harumasa resets his basic attack string. If you have to keep dodging, just bide your time until you have 60 energy. After a dodge counter, this is another chance to do EX Special Patrol. Since Harumasa's first slash has the built-in block, it's much safer to follow up now. If you can't do all 3 slashes, just dodge and come back in with the first slash again, you'll get the free block. Harumasa's quick assist is the same animation as the dodge counter. This is the last method to chain into EX Special Patrol. This move really just smoothens out Harumasa's on-field comboing. Let's talk about the most basic stun phase combo you can do. Get the stun and chain attack to spawn 6 Quivers. During the animation, hold basic attack or special to do falling feather. After, go in for 4 slashes. To redeploy Quivers, use EX Special Patrol. This time, keep holding special or basic to do falling feather to apply 2 more marks thanks to the additional ability. Go in for another 4 slashes. After the last slash, press basic attack twice to do the 4th and 5th basic. The enhanced 5th basic spawns 6 Quivers since we did a chain attack earlier. Hold and release for falling feather and do another 4 slashes. Yeah, that's the basic stun phase combo. You will need to practice, but remember the 3-step process. Deploy Quivers, mark with falling feather, slash away. This combo does this process 3 separate times. Before we continue, let's review storing Quivers and activating them automatically. I will use an Anomaly trigger to showcase Harumasa already having 6 Quivers on the field. Instead of doing Falling Feather, you can use EX Special. This will deploy 6 new Quivers, so the old Quivers will automatically mark the enemy. Next, do not do Falling Feather here. Doing so would just send the 6 new Quivers onto the foe we already marked, which is wasteful. Instead, you want to input a dash attack the normal way with dodge plus basic attack. Harumasa can do 3 slashes. After the 3 slashes, that's when you do Falling Feather. Mark the foe with the 6 Quivers on the field, plus 2 more marks from the additional ability for 4 slashes. This example highlights 3 important things I want to reiterate. 1. Harumasa can set up Quivers early, then activate them automatically by deploying more Quivers. 2. Harumasa has no Electro Prison Mark indicators, so you really need to keep track of how many slashes Harumasa can dish out at the moment. This is important for the 3rd point. On your last dash attack slash, you can press and hold to directly go into the Falling Feather Cha-Cha animation. If you are late, Harumasa would do his 4th basic and just waste your time. For maximum DPS, we need to smoothly chain Falling Feather into the combos. Using this knowledge for the stun combo, you can set up 6 Quivers on the field beforehand. EX Special or Anomaly trigger, either or is fine. After the chain attack, Harumasa deploys 6 new Quivers, so the old Quivers will activate and apply 6 marks. Do a manual dash attack for 3 slashes. On the 3rd slash, press and hold to bring up Falling Feather. Land the shot to activate the 6 Quivers on the field, now do your 4 slashes. The combo is the same as before after this point. EX Special plus Falling Feather into 4 slashes, 4th and 5th basic plus Falling Feather into 4 more slashes. The fun part about playing Harumasa is that you do not have to stick to this order of moves. For example, 1. When do I use his ultimate? 2. What if I don't have 60 energy? And 3. What if I need to rebuff with another ally? Let's try to tackle these questions. Personally, I like to use Harumasa's ult as early as possible because then you can start building decibels for the next ult. You can use it after you chain attack, for example, and if you did not have Quivers set up and need to do Falling Feather, then you can hold basic when the animation plays out. With the rework, if Harumasa has no Gleaming Edge stacks, you can start the stun phase with the ultimate. As long as the first couple of ticks of the ult is a crit, the rest of the moves will get the 72% crit damage. With that being said, if you need to stack something like the 4-piece Shadow Harmony drive disc set or the Brimstone W engine, you may want to save ultimate till later in the combo. On to the next question, what if you do not have 60 energy during the stun phase? A, my advice is to try and save 60 energy if possible. B, you can use the enhanced 5th basic first instead. That plus the 4 slashes after could buy you enough time to get the extra energy. Now what about swapping Harumasa out to rebuff with a support? This applies to before stuns as well. The new EX Special Patrol moves are great for this because it automatically marks the enemy. If Harumasa swaps back in either normally or with a quick assist, you can just do the manual dash attack to start the 3 slashes. Now if the foe is stunned or has an anomaly, you may want to do Falling Feather. I've already been doing this in the Sun combo because despite Patrol marking the enemy, that is not Falling Feather, so it does not apply the 2 extra marks from the additional ability. If Harumasa is coming back in with Quick Assist, you can hold basic attack to chain into the Falling Feather animation smoothly. This tactic is just super useful in many different places. Harumasa has a few more tidbits to share, including a complicated section on manual chain attacks, but I will save those for the after party. For the last part of the main guide, we need to talk about anomalies. First off, what happens if one of Harumasa's Quiver spawning moves also triggers an anomaly? A common occurrence is the chain attack triggering shock. Harumasa will spawn 6 Quivers, then immediately spawn 6 more Quivers. This causes the old Quivers to automatically fire. Like earlier, if this happens, do not do Falling Feather. Do the manual dash attack input first, then apply Falling Feather. What if Harumasa triggers shock during his slashes? If it's like during a stun phase, now you can pivot. Instead of doing EX Special or the 5th basic, you can just do Falling Feather into 4 more slashes. Once you get the hang of Harumasa's deploy, mark, and slash gameplay, then you can start trying to pay attention to anomaly triggers. That is another way to deploy 6 Quivers, and like the other methods, you don't want to waste that. I have one more technique to showcase, and it's my favorite. When doing the hold basic version of Falling Feather, Harumasa can chain back-to-back shots. You need to hold, release, then quickly hold the button again. If you're too slow, Harumasa would do his dash attack slash. Now, if a foe is stunned for a long time and you have no more methods to deploy Quivers, this technique can be a last resort. Thanks to the addition ability, every Falling Feather applies 2 marks, which is 1 slash. By chaining shots, you can stack up multiple slashes. You can do the same on non-stunned foes that have anomalies. This Anomaly Archer playstyle allows Harumasa to stack slashes without getting closer to the enemy. With the new block on the first dash attack, you can also safely dive in as well. If you need to dodge counter, you can hold the basic attack input to counter, then chain into Falling Feather. You can spam as many shots as you want, then go back in for the slashes. Harumasa does not build a crazy amount of anomaly, but if you want more chances to trigger anomalies, he has gained 2 valuable allies since his debut, Yuzaha, who is an attack buffing support, and Nangong, who is an anomaly focused stunner. While Harumasa's addition ability does work when an anomaly agent, I can't say the attack plus anomaly double DPS team is his strongest setup. It can work, but the endgame modes have been heavily discouraging mixing crit and anomaly damage. The buffs given typically only affect anomaly agents or only affect crit agents. To further complicate things, new anomaly bosses will lower crit damage while new crit bosses lower anomaly damage. It's kinda unfortunate. As of this video, we know the win attribute is making its return to ZZZ. We know some of its mechanics, but things are not finalized until Season 3, so I don't want to make any final judgments. For now, I'll leave a pinned comment about the win anomaly and how Harumasa might benefit from it. Onto the build section, Harumasa gets 25% crit rate from his main moves, and if you wanted to use the 4P Shadow Harmony Drive Descent, he could get another 12%. These 2 things already grant 37% crit rate, but this is all in combat. On a stats page before battle, you do not need to go over 63% crit rate. Harumasa's signature grants another 20% crit rate in combat, so this would lower the amount even further. Leveling Harumasa's core passive grants crit rate, so he gets a sizable head start. Even if you only get to 50% crit rate on, say, the stats page, that's still like over 85% total in battle. That's fine if you're not a hardcore disc farmer. The more crits the better though, and all of these hits will be benefiting from the core passive's 72% crit damage. Harumasa's signature W engine is Zanshin Herb Case. It grants 48% crit damage and 10% crit rate. Electric dash attacks get a 40% damage increase. On anomaly or stun triggers, you can get another 10% crit rate for 15 seconds. Harumasa needs even less crit rate with his signature's 20%, and the 48% crit damage adds to the free 72% from his kit as well. On top of this, you get a nice 40% bonus damage for these slashes. Sadly, that's not updated for the ultimate like the rework did. For other S-rank options, Seed's Cordis Germina grants maybe way too much crit rate, but it also gives 25% electric damage for all moves and 20% defense shred for the ultimate. You can also use zzzero Ambi's or Cecilia signatures as well. Now Harumasa actually has a decent option in the Brimstone, which more people may have. It is a pure attack stick, but it works with dash attacks. Before a stun phase or before you fire off the ultimate, try to stack Brimstone's attack buff first. For a team with say Rena or Nicole who aren't attack buffers, Brimstone's not a bad choice. For A-rank W engines, if you want crit rate, Mercado Desire was sort of made for Harumasa in mind. EX Special, Chain Attack, and Anomaly triggers will grant bonus attack, but this was a limited time event reward. Hopefully they add it to the potential archive shop soon. For the other crit rate A-ranks, there's the Battle Pass Cannon Rotor. Starlight Engine is a mini Brimstone, but requires dodge counters or quick assist to trigger. As for Anton's Drill Rig, Harumasa doesn't need energy regen like zzzero, but this thing does boost dash attack damage, so it's worth a mention. For Drive Disc main stats, Harumasa ideally wants crit damage or percent attack in Partition 4. If you really need crit rate, go for it, but he's already got so much from his kit. For Partition 5, bit of a dealer's choice of electric damage, percent attack, or pen ratio. Partition 6 is pretty much always percent attack. Harumasa has a lot of options for 4-piece and 2-piece sets. You could use 4-piece Woodpecker Electro for the on-field playstyle, Hormone Punk for the pure stun phase playstyle, and then Thunder Metal for electric anomaly heavy teams. Since its release though, we have gotten Shadow Harmony, which is my personal choice. The 2-piece buffs dash attack damage, while the 4-piece grants up to 12% crit rate and 12% attack. The catch is that you need to use an electric dash attack, aka Harumasa slashes, 3 times. That pretty much aligns with his general playstyle, and doing a slash every 15 seconds will retain those buffs. For 2-piece sets, Harumasa can use Woodpecker if you don't have a lot of crit rate substats. There's Branching Blade Song for crit damage, or Hormone Punk / Astral Voice for percent attack. If you have a lot of crit damage and percent attack sources, then Harumasa can dip into the pen ratio with Puffer Electro. Since Harumasa's ultimate got buffed and Dowling exists now to give extra ultimate casts, 4-piece Puffer is definitely on the table. Goes extremely well with the rework. For teams, Harumasa prefers doing uninterrupted combos, so a regular stun and support team will be preferred. Thanks to the unique electric attackers we've gotten, you can do double attack teams. While the Anomaly playstyle is fun, it's not the strongest, at least in my opinion. You can try and attack plus Anomaly double DPS setup, but I do think Harumasa is better off focusing with stun phases. We've gotten a lot of new agents, but you can use the old electric team of Chingy and Rina. You can stack pen ratio with Rina, and she extends shock by 3 seconds. Chingy needs field time to land her enhanced basics for bonus stun damage, but that's fine since Harumasa doesn't need to build too many resources for his combos. For another electric stunner, Trigger works from off-field, so you will need to main Harumasa on-field more. As long as you can trigger additional abilities, you're free to use any stunner you want, Jafufu, Kaleda, Lycon Poker, or the A-Rank Ambi. At the time of this video, we know Norma is an upcoming S-Rank Fire Stunner. Will Norma be better than Dylan though? I don't know. Dylan is so good because of her extra stun time, extra stun damage, and extra ultimate. Just make sure Harumasa gets at least 1 chain attack in there though. For any of these stun teams, you can run the usual supports. Rina or Nicole can lower defense, but their shorter debuff timers will require more swapping. There are many attack buffers like Astra, Zhao, or Lucy. Suna can stack stun damage and deal decent days herself, so she's a great new addition. Caesar buffs attack, plus her Aegis shield can prevent staggering. That could allow Harumasa to finish his basic attacks on field or just slash continuously into enemy attacks. Now if you aren't running electric units, a stun plus support team of the same attribute could build anomalies more often. For example, Dylan plus Suna or Caesar can build their own physical anomalies. Backpedaling a bit, Harumasa can work with Seed or zzzero for the double electric attacker teams. With Seed, Harumasa will mainly just come in for an occasional EX special and couple slashes. With zzzero, he will need to be fighting on field more. Since Harumasa needs a stunner, you can pair these teams with Trigger or Dylan. Chingy will take a little too long, at least to me. I talked about new anomaly options earlier, but the old school team was Harumasa, Grace, and Rina. In theory, it's an okay team, but it just hasn't been the strongest since the early days. Instead of using an anomaly DPS, Harumasa can partner with supports and stunners who have extra decent anomaly buildup, like Yuzaha and Nangong. Yuzaha is an attack buffer, so she can be used for any team. Nangong is really good, but you must use Suna if you want the extra stun time and stun damage from her. That is a bit limiting. Now there is one more option not listed here, and that is Sokaku. We can use Sokaku's anomaly build to trigger freezes, while she still buffs Harumasa with 1000 attack. This also lets you slot in Lycon as a stunner. It's definitely a lot easier to manage than Miyabi's Mono Ice team. Let's briefly go over Harumasa's Mindscapes. For M1, max stack limit for Electro Prison is now 14. Every Electro Quiver now applies 2 Electro Prison marks. In other words, M1 allows Harumasa to now do 7 dash attack slashes in a row. You do not have to change your Quiver deploying combos though, because all Quivers apply twice as many marks. For example, your EX specials will deploy 6 Quivers, but when you activate them, they now apply 12 marks. To get the last 2 marks, you use Falling Feather on stun foes or foes with anomalies. For M2, when using Chain Attacker Ultimate, Harumasa gains 7 stacks of Electro Blitz. Consume 1 stack to increase the slashes damage by 50%. M2 is just free damage for the 7 slashes after your chain attacks and ultimates. For Mindscape 4, Electro Prison now lasts for 20 seconds. In addition, dash attack slashes now grant 30 decibels, and using ultimate applies max Electro prison marks to all foes. M4 essentially makes it so using ultimate lets you do 7 slashes after, synergizes with M2, and it marks all foes, which is pretty nice. For M6, after the Quivers mark stunned foes or foes with anomalies, Harumasa gets 15% electrical red shred for 12 seconds. Every time you mark a foe 12 times, Harumasa deals an extra instance of electric damage. M6 is pure damage, thanks to M1 deploying 6 Quivers now applies 12 marks. That procs the free extra damage effect here. If you want to invest in Harumasa, his signature is fine, but there are many crit rate or crit damage alternatives for attack agents. Meanwhile, M1 allows Harumasa to do 7 slashes in a row, and you don't have to change your playstyle because all Quivers just double their number of marks applied to meet that new cap. Harumasa's other Mindscapes are also pretty nice, but M1 is definitely a solid grab. For the after party tip section, I have a few more things to showcase. Harumasa's regular special has iframes while airborne, and if you hold the button, you can chain to Falling Feather. For those that like to show off, Harumasa can cancel the animation of his ultimate by starting a chain attack. If you use EX special, then press ultimate as the arrow is in flight, Harumasa can start his ult animation, then the arrow will trigger the chain attack. While you swap out, Harumasa will continue the ult in the background. This maneuver is possible with the new EX special patrol move, but it is much tougher. It is easier to trigger if you do the regular EX special with a little distance from the enemy. Harumasa's stun combos can get even more complicated if you use manual chain attacks. Depending on your input method though, this can be very tricky. The slash is a heavy attack, so it immediately triggers a chain attack. If you hold basic attack, Harumasa can skip that first chain attack prompt, but then holding for too long starts Falling Feather. That's a problem. On PC, you can hold your special key while left clicking basic attack to avoid this. On controller, unless you're using the claw grip or reassign your special button, this is very awkward. It is possible to press and hold basic attack during the slash, then release at just the right time before pressing and holding again to trigger the next slash. The timing is super tight though. Another method is to just press basic attack, then immediately slide your thumb over to the special button to hold it during the slash animation. You can then repeat this awkward basic plus hold special input. This should work on mobile controls as well. To go with the last section, if you want to cancel the next chain attack prompt, pressing the cancel button will interrupt Harumasa from smoothly chaining into Falling Feather. To remedy this, you can hold your basic or special button, then hit your cancel chain attack button. This one is possible on controller, but I'm unsure how this works on mobile. For another method though, you can just hold basic or special then let the timer run out. That works too. Last, I did want to talk about Harumasa's issues with multiple enemies. Harumasa is a really fun agent, but I kind of take a deep sigh anytime there are double elites or even just an elite and small mobs. If you use any of the methods that automatically trigger Quivers, they will not always fly to the same target. This means Harumasa can mark the wrong enemy and his dash attack slash is going to take him there no matter what. Also, while the rework added a block to the first dash attack, you're still vulnerable on all the rest. If you only stun one of the enemies, you can still get hit while you're trying to do the rest of your combo. For those who may be interested in Harumasa, be aware group scenarios are still pretty annoying. We have gotten more and more advanced kits, but Harumasa is still one of the most intensive agents to play. If you mess up his combos, his damage will not be great. The lack of indicators for how many marks are on the target means you need to constantly keep in mind how many slashes he has or can get. To really min-max, you then have to plan around anomaly triggers. If you really enjoy a challenge though, Harumasa is definitely one of those agents. Really fun with a lot of ways to play. For a guy who likes skipping work, he sure puts in a lot of effort on the battlefield. That's all I have for this video. This guide is super late, but despite that, Harumasa is still on break apparently. Hopefully he reruns soon. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.